today's episode of Simply Cooking with Supabarn, I'll be cooking a Shakshuka style baked bacon and eggs. For this dish, I'll be using bacon from Pialigo Estate, who is a small producer in the ACT, along with some capsicum, onion, of course free-range organic eggs, but all in a beautiful spicy tomato salsa. This is a great dish for breakfast, brunch if you've got people coming over. It's so simple to put together, even for those lazy Sunday nights. Let's get cooking. First off, we'll be chopping up a red onion, cut it crossways, then at an angle down, and automatically we have lovely diced pieces. What I want to do here is just dice the onion quite finely, because we do want it just to melt into the salsa. Pop it straight into the pan. While I'll be chopping up the other veggies, I'll get the shakshuka on. Adding a touch of olive oil and turning the cooktop on to a medium to high heat. While that onion's starting to saute, we'll chop the capsicum and also the bacon. So I'll be using about 1/4 of a capsicum here. Cut it in small strips first, turn it the other way and chop again. And then we'll add it to the pan. For the bacon, it's easier if you cut it lengthwise first and then turn it around and cut it the other way. The reason I'm using a red onion here instead of a brown onion, it's just for that little bit of visual interest. If you don't have a red onion, by all means just go ahead and substitute it with a brown one. Talking of substituting, if you wanted to make this into a vegetarian style shakshuka, just take the bacon out and include maybe some chili or zucchini, really any other favourite vegetable, eggplant for example. Our onion is just starting to caramelise, so it's perfect time to throw in our tomatoes. The cherry tomatoes have been cut in half. If they are a bigger cherry tomato though, it's probably best if you cut it into quarters, just to make sure that it all melts into the salsa. Add some salt, freshly ground black pepper, a little cinnamon, and just a pinch of sugar to offset the acidity in the tomatoes. And just to help everything get moving, I'll add about 1/2 cup of water. By adding the water, it just helps to loosen up the salsa and create enough steam for the cherry tomatoes really to start melting into the sauce. The salsa's looking really good. The cherry tomatoes are starting to break down, so I'll just chop up some fresh herbs to add to it. I have some fresh oregano and parsley. So with oregano and parsley, especially in this dish, it's always lovely just to use the fresh leaves, and we'll just be roughly chopping them. And let's pop that in. Giving it another stir just to make sure everything's mixing in properly. By adding the herbs, it just gives it an extra layer of flavour. I always like putting some fresh herbs or lemon or just that little pop of freshness in most things that I bake. It's looking really good. Looks thick now. It's wonderfully fragrant. Turn it off the heat and it's time to assemble the dish. Today we'll be making 2 individual shakshukas. I love using this dish because it is shallow and quite wide, but feel free to substitute it for any small baking dish that you have. And if you're cooking for a larger party, just even a lasagna dish. Divide the salsa between the 2 dishes, and it will further thicken in the oven as well. We want to make 2 little wells into the salsa, and this is where we're going to put in our eggs. Crack 1 egg into a small bowl at a time, just to make sure that we don't have any shell going into the dish. But it also helps with the presentation of the dish, because we'll just have all the white falling in first, followed by the yolk. That's one of the beautiful things about a shakshuka, seeing that lovely egg yolk on top. Now here I've dropped a little egg shell in, so a little party trick I've picked up is if you grab the shell, it's so much easier to pick it out. Now we just pop in the last egg, so letting the white fall down first and then following through with the yolk. Okay, the dishes are ready for the oven. I'd recommend you popping them in for 8 minutes if you like your eggs runny. However, if you like your white absolutely completely set, 9 minutes is the way to go. Don't forget to put on that timer. Perfect. So the salsa has just thickened up a little bit more. The eggs have set. Finishing touch is just to grab some parsley leaves. Really, really rough chop and just sprinkle it over the top. To serve the dish, you can just add some crusty bread or a fresh green salad. And there you have it, shakshuka style bacon and eggs. Absolutely delicious.